We're going to now start in chapter 11 of 1 Corinthians. This section is going to talk about head coverings, which is really practiced in many, especially Ukrainian churches still today. Not as many in America, but let's read God's Word, see what this says. Chapter 11, and remember the first verse said, imitate me, as I also imitate Christ. Paul was encouraging those believers to be as he, trying to be as Christ. Verse 2, now I praise you, because you remember me in everything, and hold fast to the traditions, just as I delivered them to you. He's saying the things you've been taught, you are doing your best to live by those traditions and those teachings. Verse 3, but I want you to know that Christ is the head of every man, and the man is the head of the woman, and God is the head of Christ. There's an order God had in plan for us. God leads his son Christ. Christ leads the man leads the woman in the family structure. That's God's plan. Verse 4, every man who prays or prophesies with someone on his head, every man who prays or prophesies with something on his head dishonors his head. Every woman who prays or prophesies with her head uncovered dishonors her head, since that is the one and the same as having her head shaved. For if a woman doesn't cover her head, she should have her hair cut off. But it is disgraceful. If it is disgraceful for a woman to have her hair cut off or her head shaved, let her head be covered. God is talking about the original plan and the practices also of respect in those days when this is written. Women were to keep their head covered, and it was disrespectful to shave their head, so he encouraged them, let her head be covered. And men, uncover your head as being respectful. Think about that. It's showing respect as much as anything. For a man to uncover his head when he goes before anyone, much less God the Father. The practice for many years in politeness was, if a man went into a home, he would remove his hat. If a man, of course, in the presence of others, of women and those of honor, he would remove his hat as a sign of respect, uncover his head. And the woman would keep her head covered as a sign of respect, Now, we will talk much more about this, because some practices in churches today almost demand that is carried out, while in others it's just has been long forgotten and no one seems to care. But I will bring the fact to us all the time. What is respectful to God? Not so much what's respectful to me. What shows respect to God? And as we read in the coming days, we'll read in verses 7 through 14, 16 about this subject. So, instructions about head coverings. Remember this. God is over Christ. Christ is over the man over the woman. That's the order that God had planned. And as respect, the man would have his head uncovered. In respect, the woman would have her head covered. We'll talk more next time as we read in chapter 11 of 1 Corinthians. And I hope to see you next week when I record again.